I'm joined today by Dr. Nwazuruki Humphrey, and he will be speaking with us on managing and preventing stomach ulcer. Good to have you join us today.
Yes, good afternoon.
So we're talking about stomach ulcer. First, tell us, is there a difference between stomach ulcer and peptic ulcer? Are they the same thing?
Actually, yeah, I'll say yes, but I start by saying this. Peptic ulcer is just, okay, let me start with ulcer as a name. Ulcer just simply means a sore, a wound. It can happen anywhere, any part of the body, anywhere. So, but it's called peptic stomach ulcer. Then we have two types. We have the gastric and the duodenal ulcer. Why so? The gastric is the sore you have inside your stomach, inside the lining, while the duodenal are the upper part of your intestine. Okay? There are causes, yes, there are causes. Mostly from infections. And this particular infection is called Helicobacter pylori, or for short, H. pylori. Yes, you could get it through, well, it's not really stated, but we believe it could be gotten through kissing, contact, body contact, probably food, drinks, and all. You know, poor hygiene could lead to that. And other causes, prolonged use of certain
NSAIDs.
drugs, yes, NSAIDs, that's non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Okay, prolonged use of them could also be a cause too. So now, ulcers, when it happens, there are certain symptoms and signs you might face. It varies though from people to people.
All right, I think I should come in here.
Okay.
You've mentioned some of the causes. You talked about an infection, you talked about H. pylori, and you also mentioned some other things. But then, is it possible that ulcer can be caused because a person is skipping meals? Because I know that's what we have in local parlance.
No. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Okay, I'll tell you where I'm going to park my car now. Okay. Yes, I could take that for a risk factor. Yes, but causes are just what I just said. Okay, let me talk more on that now. Okay, like when I was growing up too, before I was a medical doctor, just like you too, while you're growing up, if you don't eat, you come down ulcers. No. Okay, actually, how it happens. Okay, picture this. I'm trying to break it down. Picture this. You fasted for God knows how long. You know, some people say dry fasting, whatever they call it. You fast. There's nothing in your tummy. And the moment you want to break your fast, probably on the way, you're near your home and all that, probably you knew that it was time for you to break your fast and stuff. You just popped a bubble gum in your mouth, and you chew. Of course, there are certain foods that when we take in, when we ingest, digestion starts from the mouth. Example, like bread or something, you take it, there is stuff from my mouth. It's an enzyme tylenine. It starts the digestion before it gets to your stomach. But once it gets to the stomach brings this acid for further digestion. Now picture this now. Like I said, you were fast. A patient was fasting. After everything, it's time to break the fast and pops a bubble gum into the mouth and chews, swallows saliva. The stomach would think there's food.
Food is coming.
Now the acid comes out to work on it. No food. What
Is
happens?
it only bubble gum? Are there other examples?
Anything, maybe something small, just sort of little thing. I'm just trying to tell something.
Yeah, would like to have this example, so
yeah.
would know.
Yeah. So, you take it. Your stomach thinks there's food in the tummy, and the acid comes, and instead of acting on the food, it acts on the inside of your stomach, and it causes sore. And now that's how it starts. But now that I further talked about this H. pylori, it's always in our stomach. It shouldn't be harmful like that, but at times it causes inflammation, and in turn it causes a sore. That's how it comes. Now, coming back to what my sister just said, while growing up, when you don't eat, come down ulcer. No, that's a risk factor. Other risk factors are smoking, spicy food, of course, alcohol, and there's certain, besides spicy food, there's certain foods you might want to take that will disrupt your tummy. That's we call them like fatty foods. You're intolerant to fatty foods. You know, those are okay. Like you see a patient, you treat the patient. Patient is going home. You talk. Don't do this. Don't do that. What the routine is like. Your food, if it's too hot, you make it normal before you eat. Okay, we could take spices. Not as if we shouldn't eat spices. Little. If it's too much, you just picture this. I pour pepper, is a spice, on a wound. You can imagine the pain. That's how it is. So, what else? I talked about alcohol. And back to what she said. Yes, don't fast. Of course, you know you have an ulcer. God knows. So, God doesn't have trouble with you. But he'll be mad. I guess he'll be mad if you keep on fasting despite knowing you have an ulcer.
I think that you're already talking about management. We haven't
advice.
got
Okay.
there yet.
Sorry.
Okay, so let's look at this. You mentioned something about the NSAIDs. Now,
Yes.
I'm wondering, for someone who has to be on these drugs, are there preventive measures that should be taken by such people?
Yes. Okay, like you rightly said, there might be someone might having an issue, right? And probably the painkiller there has to be NSAID. In this situation, the advice I'd give, eat very well. Eat very well before taking them. So the effect, you won't really feel the effect. That's the way out. But there are other medications that you can use for pains in place of this NSAIDs.
Now, talking about NSAIDs, I know aspirin is one of them, but do you mind giving us more examples of NSAIDs?
Yes, we have ibuprofen, diclofenac. Yes, these are NSAIDs. You know, these NSAIDs, yes, we tend to tell our patients be careful how they make use of this. As a matter of fact, we advise them wherever they find themselves, tell your doctor you're an ulcer patient, so they know how to go about taking care of you.
All right.
Okay.
I think that's a very good one. Now, looking at ulcer, I remember while I was in school, someone had ulcer and then the person ate beans and they said it's aggravated.
Yes, I was coming there.
Talk to us about, maybe foods or drinks, things that can further aggravate, the symptoms and the pains of someone living with ulcer. Okay,
let's go. Starting with the symptoms. Pains, if you at times you might feel bloated and you belch, that's the gas there. At times you might be nauseated, yes, you might be nauseated and eventually might vomit. Yeah. So there are other signs, these are the common ones, there are other signs that might happen to an ulcer patient. It doesn't happen to an ulcer patient when it's serious. Your stool, you can actually vomit blood, yes, or dark, what you bring out is dark. That is still blood. And your stool, you bring out dark stool, that is still blood. Your stool, it's a sore, it bleeds and stuff. So there are certain foods, like she said, beans. There are people, not all.
Okay.
Yeah, in the field, because I'm in the field. Not all. Some people say, doctor, and I notice anytime I eat beans, my stomach pains become worse. This one tells you it's orange. Another one tells you it's pineapple. Orange is citric acid. You see? Yes.
Even the ripe one or the unripe one for the people you've met on the field? Citric
acid. Ripe, unripe. Just picture this. Unripe, whatever it is conk, whatever is concentrated. Ripe, yeah, it's getting better, but there's still citric acid there. Actually, God made this protection in our stomach. There's a lining, a mucous lining that protects from all these harsh things. So when this acid, when it erodes it now exposes the wall of stomach to injury. That's how it happens. Now, like there are drinks that you'd stay away from, like all the soft drinks like carbonated drinks like Coke, Sprite, 7-Up, Pepsi, Lacacera. Okay, let me break it down to you guys. When you shake, you see the gas coming out and all. So, okay, this is a suspect. You try and stay away from it. For the meantime.
What if it's not cold?
Yes, extreme. If it's cold, just normally, you can. But see, extremes of temperature, too hot, too cold. Picture you holding ice block for a long time. It harms you. Then you're good. Your skin, no injury. I pour hot water on your skin. What happens? The pain. Then one more thing. Salt. Have you seen salt? I pour on an injury.
On earthworm.
Okay, on an earthworm now. You see how the earthworm dances. But probably in the kitchen cooking and all, right? You somehow hurt yourself with a knife, but small thing. You keep on doing your thing.
Salt gets to it.
Whoa, it's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy. So like things. I talked about fasting, right?
Yes, you have.
Yes, I did. What else? Alcohol, cigarettes too. That's another one.
So these are the things that can aggravate the pain of someone who already has ulcer.
Yes.
And for somebody who doesn't have
stress. I forgot stress.
How is that so?
That's a risk factor too.
Okay. Maybe we should just talk, let's just concentrate on risk factors now.
Okay, you just talked about them. Stress, smoking, drinking. That's, of course, if you drink moderately, if you're not. But like I tell them, if I were you, my patients, when the pain is serious, for that time, I might try and stay off this thing. But when I'm well, I'm okay, I can do things moderately. Yes.
Okay. So it would seem that to a very large extent, the risk factors, these are the things that could probably make someone come down with ulcer. And at the same time, for somebody who already has ulcer, some of those things, when done, can also aggravate.
Yes.
So it has that double role. All right, speaking of the symptoms, I'm sure you've talked about one or two. Let's have it now.
Okay. The common ones, it goes with stomach pain, your pain, how your tummy pains you. At times, it can be as if you're feeling, how will I put it? There's this hotness in you around your tummy region. You could feel nauseated. You could actually vomit after that. And you feel bloated and actually belch. And the other ones, you would, when the pain comes, this stomach pain comes, you notice you go and eat something and it calms down. It calms down. That tells you that, this might be ulcer, but there are foods. But you can't just go, you're having stomach pains and not take something very peppery, it will worsen it. But most times that when you eat, when the pain comes and you take something, it calms down. It tells you this is an ulcer. And also, when you poo, you look at your poo, it's dark. It's dark. Most likely it might be ulcer. Basically, at times when it gets worse, you actually feel as if you're about fainting and you can't breathe. Yes. So these are the signs, but majorly, the worst, majorly amongst this I said, we try and stop the pain. Of course, all these things, maybe you have the vomiting, bloated and all that, but the pains is where the focus is on, because that's what actually brings the patients to the hospital now, most times, you know. So on symptoms, while the only way to take care of the symptoms is while you take your medication, you keep to the doctor's advice and all.
All right, are there complications from ulcer?
What?
Are there complications?
Yes, there are complications, bleeding, internal bleeding, perforation, and also perforation, I mean, there's a hole somewhere in your guts and all. Also, you have, you have blockade, obstruction. Yes, and when somewhere is obstructed, you won't eat very well at times. And probably, you're taking food, it gets to where the obstruction is, nothing goes down, and you're taking more, it gets to where you now vomit. This is where vomiting comes from. Yes, and you don't take in food, and that means your body's not getting food. You lose weight.
Now, when there is perforation and there is blockade, how do we get that out?
Perforation, no two ways about it. You go to the theater.
Okay, then the blockade?
The blockade, if it's that bad, you go to theater. If it's that bad, you go to theater. But there are medications for this, which you notice. That's why we talk about recognizing symptoms early, so it doesn't get to that stage. So there are medications for this. I don't know. I'm not trying to. I don't want to talk about.
Of course.
Yes.
So we don't encourage self-medication.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but I'll tell my viewers, if you feel you have an ulcer, pains, or anything, make it simple. Go with paracetamol. Yes, I don't say this, but if it was way back, there's a medication, but it has been banned now because of drug abuse. Nigerian youth, tramadol. Yes, it's good for pains, and it doesn't aggravate ulcer. But just because our youth has turned into another thing, that's why it's been banned. So it's no more. So keep it easy with acetaminophen. This person, yes, easy. Then there are other things you get given at the hospital that makes everything comes back to normal.
All right, that's good. I would have said we should talk about prevention, but it would seem that when you talk about one thing, at the end of the day, you find out that you probably talked about the other thing.
Yeah, prevention. Don't quickly. I can quickly run through it.
Okay, very quickly.
Yeah, good hygiene. Wash your hands. Why I said so? As you know, I talked about bacteria, right? Wash your hands. What you're taking, make sure it's clean. There. Hot. Too more extremes of temperature. Too hot. Too cold. No. Let it be normal before you take. Alcohol, cigarettes is a no-no. Carbonated drinks, a no-no. When it comes to the food, like some say beans.
You said carbonated drinks. No.
Yes.
Like no.
The gases, especially when it's you're in trouble. I know that you're in trouble. You're in trouble. But don't get me wrong.
I totally understand. I mean,
yes. And basically, the food parts. Like I said, there are certain foods you take, like fatty foods, fatty foods. It aggravates that pain.
When you say fatty foods, you mind just making it simpler for the audience?
Okay, when you fry things, when you fry fried food, just take it easy with fried for that time. Then, because it's a wound. Also, it's simply.
Okay, let me get you correctly. When I say prevention, I mean you don't have it yet, but you're just trying to prevent it. But then when you say fatty foods that we should prevent, we should minimize our intake of fatty foods.
No, that's for
someone who already has it, but wants to ensure that you don't make stir it up again or something.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yes. So I was trying to say something about the food. Well, I might be an ulcer patient, and you too. And I take beans, it doesn't disturb me. You do, it disturbs you. So I tell them, whatever you notice that disturbs you, that's a suspect. Take it easy on that. It varies. Just like how we might get admitted with
for malaria?
Yeah, for malaria, both of us, with the same treatment. We are both adults, right? With the same treatment. But you get well before me. Our body systems, that's how it goes.
All right. Well, in closing, maybe we should just talk about management and treatment. Though you started talking about that.
Yes, I talked a little about management. I tell my patients, when you're on your own at home, I formally listed some things. That's part of management. Those advice I listed from the taking it easy. It's part of management. You call it prevention, but it's part of management, because when the doctor treats you and you're well, to manage yourself properly so you don't go back to where you came from, you have to stick to the advices, okay? So managing your ulcers means doing these things. Those are things I listed, keeping it real with those things I listed. That's how you manage your ulcers. But don't get it wrong, your medications are also important. And there's a length of time you take these medications for, minimum of 3 weeks. Minimum of 3 weeks. There's a certain one that there's this there's some called antacids. Yes, you take them, but there are times it crops up, it comes up all of a sudden. Your probably can't reach out to any of your oral drugs. You see an antacid, you can take it, but where we see at times you see milk elsewhere or yogurt, you can really take it. It holds you down till you get to where your medication is at.
All right, I think that's a good one. Is there anything you'd like to share with us before we end this conversation?
Well, nothing much I might want to talk about. I'll just say peptic ulcer is real, and no one wants to undergo pain. You might think just keep a good lifestyle, your good lifestyle and your dietary part. If you can do that, good lifestyle, and be good with your diet and all that, I think you're good to go.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Humphrey, for sharing your thoughts with us.
You're welcome.
We've had a great time speaking with Dr. Nwazuruoke Humphrey, and I guess you also enjoyed the conversation. Prevention really is better than sacrifice. I mean, so you heard everything he said, and it's my hope that you key into these things. Many thanks for watching. I am Perpetual Fason Peter. To enjoy the rest of the day. Bye for now.